This is your daily briefing and you're most welcome to it. Fantastic win against Arsenal, fantastic team performance from Tottenham. And Arteta, you need to look to yourself, my friend, because you're pointing at other people. You need to look to yourselves. It was a dreadful team performance. And as ever, everything here is evidence-based. So let's look at some of the boys. Sonny and Kane, I'm not going to trail it on. They were straightforwardly immense, the pair of them, and just the attitude and the endeavour, just clever performances. 11 out of 10, the pair. Bentancur was superb. 80% total actions success, and total actions, we're just going to dwell on this for a moment. This is the thing, like I always refer to it as that like umbrella stat. So this encompasses everything: your passing, the throw-ins, whatever it was you were. How did you get on? And I'll come back to it when I show you the graphic, but that was the area that I always used to moan on about Dele Alli, because he was dossing around the 50% mark. It simply isn't good enough. But our boys across the board in the main were really on point. So Bentancur, 80% total action success. Passing accuracy, 95%. And bear in mind where he is on the park. Okay, that really is good. 2 shot assists, a progressive run, and a touch in the penalty area. Emerson Royale, another decent game, or by his previous standards not so long ago, an outstanding game. 87% passing accuracy. And just as he was against Liverpool, there were a number of decent passes to the final third. Against Arsenal, in fact, no one on either side made more. Pierre Højbjerg, total actions hit 84% success-wise, which is the highest in his last 9 games. Passing accuracy was 94%, which is super decent, but only in range with his usual high standards. And I'll come back to it perhaps on another occasion, because I know you don't like hearing it really, but this is what they do, these holding midfielders. The show reels are not immense, but what you're looking for is the quality in the numbers here, and he has them, generally speaking, in spades. Recovered the ball 9 times more frequently than anyone else on the park, won 60% of his duels, 2 shot assists, 100% accuracy passing in the final third. That's good. That's top of the pops. Kulusevski flatlined, I'm afraid, much as he did against Liverpool. Nothing of huge concern in his general play, but as an attacking character, no goals, no shots, no assists, no shot assists. Just 1 successful cross and a couple of touches in the Arsenal penalty area. Nothing disastrous, but nothing to write home about. Victory was a fine one, and not just because it was them and not just because it ended 3-0. If we look at our pressing intensity, Arsenal were only really in it for 10 minutes or so. But more importantly, what this shows us is that Conte is capable of steering his Mourinho ball bus. Arsenal were incompetent, and we didn't wait for them to die of boredom. Looking at the numbers further, looking at successful actions in the main, everybody was hitting much better numbers than usual. And so if we look at the line down there, Emerson, Sanchez, Dyer, Davies, Sessegnon went off the ball 53%. But those at the back line there, that's competency, that's technical ability. It's pretty much getting the job done. It's boring, it's not like box office end of the game, but that's important. And I have to mention losses. It's another thing I moan about repeatedly, because giving the ball to your opponent, you're supposed to pass to your own team. And not a single player in the Tottenham 11 hit double figures. That's fantastic. That's what we like to see. By comparison, Arsenal's competency was way off. I've got their numbers here, and we got 69%, couple of boys in 70, 52% from the Saka, the supposed threat. 90% from Elneny. But, you know, there was nobody that really did the job for them and was, for want of a better word, competent. So I've got no idea where Arteta's attitude has come from. He's been in the game a long time. He would be able to see what the guys were doing and see what the problems were. And I think because it was just basic stuff opposed to, you know, players being, you know, grossly inept. But it was just the sort of the mundane stuff. They just couldn't get it right. Which leads us neatly onto the expected goal dynamics, which sounds terribly boring, but it tells us, it points to the conclusion that the Gunners were lucky to get nil in a 3-0. Absolutely crushed. Jamie Redknapp, he agrees with me. I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know where Arteta is coming from. I think the big decisions the ref got right today. Absolutely right. Couple of other bits floating around. Conte, I want to say that Sanchez, he played his last game in the starting 11 maybe 2.5 months ago, and he worked a lot. He worked very well, and to see him tonight, to have this performance, makes me and my staff very happy. I think it's tremendous that we suddenly have a bit of depth in this area of the squad. But do you really pay 40 million, in excess of 40 million pounds, to have a guy who can come on and step into it? It's not good enough. They've got to get him in the shop window, got to move him on if he's not in anybody's long-term plans. Same with Joe Rodon. I have nothing against the pair of them really, but we need to make sure we're recycling and getting the fresh cash in and the fresh blood in, and people in the dressing room who are hearing the voice for the first time, opposed to people who've been G'd up to death and it's just gone nowhere. Fabrizio Romano with a couple of bits a little bit further down the road for us. I'm convinced the future of Harry Kane could be really important to understand the future of Antonio Conte. I guess he's kind of saying that if Kane went, then Conte would absolutely consider his own position. But it's a bit bleeding obvious, mate. And Romano, who clearly has some channel of dialogue with the cook, says here, Antonio Conte said yes to Tottenham because of Fabio Paratici. He was the one who changed everything. Listen, I'm not going to say that isn't true. It probably is enormously correct in many ways. But what terrifies me, having been involved with this football club for longer than Paratici and Romano and Conte, is that one man pulls the strings. So the idea that Paratici has any sway on matters, I'm afraid, you know, you're putting your money on the wrong guy. That's it for now. Burnley for lunch tomorrow. Let's see what's left. And remember, if we play in Europe, we play twice a week. Good luck. Keep it on.